Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. I'm joined in the virtual studio by the incandescent Karen Bashford, an empowerment mentor. Now, we've covered all sorts of topics in our short time live streaming together, but today is quite an interesting one because if someone asked you this one question, some people would have very strong views one way or the other, but may not actually know what the real answer is. Are you a leader? Is that who you are? I mean, you may not consider it. I mean, Karen, you were just telling me a story about a client and friend who I believe until the moment you actually had this discussion was blissfully unaware.
Absolutely. And that's what was so surprising, because his life experiences clearly indicate that he is a leader, that he's somebody that he's looked up at as somebody who can inspire, can guide, can support. But he hadn't realized it. It was quite a shock to him, actually, to suddenly realize that his family consider that he is the person to go to. Yes, he can be stubborn. Who can't be? But at the same time, his insights, his support, even the love he gives is that of somebody who inspires and leads the family. But it was such a shock to him. It really, really was.
Is this what you inspired you to have this discussion today?
Absolutely, because
so have you come across this before in others?
yes, and I'm a prime example. I hadn't realized that what I was doing, I was actually leading through my actions. It never occurred to me any more than it occurred to him that in the way he's living his life and the support he gives without even realizing he's doing it has made such a difference to his family lives.
Right. So leadership doesn't just mean saying you do that, you do that. It can be by setting an example.
Absolutely. In actual fact, leadership is being the guide through your actions, not necessarily through your words, but through your actions. If you're truthful to yourself, your actions will indicate your confidence. And in being confident, you're automatically inspiring somebody to be confident in themselves.
Right. So it's as much inspiring others as it is from standing there on the orange box and saying, "Now listen to me."
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, it's probably more that, because I bring my life experiences to what I do in, working with women generally, to actually get them to make the changes they need to make.
Well, if I can jump in now, I'd say that you kind of derive your direction from your life experiences.
Absolutely.
If I can make an obtuse reference to the very direction you're going in now, it's been driven by what's happened thus far, and that's caused you to reflect. Now, this person, I'm going back to the story. He's not a young man.
No, he's over, I believe he's 80 now.
And yet it never occurred to him that he was the patriarch.
No, absolutely not. He, in actual fact, considered himself with low self-esteem.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well,
and yet his background would indicate that far from it, because he has guided as a financial advisor. That takes a lot of confidence, not just training, but confidence to know that you're recommending something to somebody that could impact the rest of their life.
Well, yes, it's one of the largest decisions one can make is how one deals with one's money. As you say, it has knock-on effects that doesn't just affect you; it affects all the people that rely on you. So this new knowledge, this sudden realization, this epiphany, if you will, did that change his attitude towards himself?
Absolutely. It was quite interesting because he'd originally phoned up for guidance through a tarot reading on a decision he'd made. He'd made that decision already, and then the self-doubt kicked in, and it was like, am I making the right decision? And the cards were clearly indicating he had. However, the cards were also indicating that perhaps he didn't realize he was leading through his decision.
Right.
It just didn't occur to him that he was. So it was this conversation is, well, actually, your family really respect you and appreciate the guidance and support you've been giving them. At the same time, he turned around and said, what do you mean by that? Well, your family really respect you, and you know they love you for who you are, but they really respect you because you guide and support them. And for him, that was an absolute shock. He did not believe that his family considered him the leader, that he could lead them even. And it was, we do not realize what we do to ourselves because of our beliefs. But in that moment of me saying his family respected him and appreciated all the love and support and all the wise words he gives them, it's like suddenly the blinkers had come off. And it was like, really? They think that?
I suppose we need to ask ourselves, how do we define leaders? Because by your definition,
your life.
Because, well, by your definition, and this is me tongue in cheek, we haven't really had many leaders politically for quite a while.
I totally agree.
Yeah, because you know, because by your definition, a leader should inspire and should give other people confidence, as well as, you know, and they should walk the path themselves. You know,
Absolutely.
You know, how can you be like good King Wenceslas and leave the footprints for other people to follow if you don't walk the path? And so you say there's a large number of people out there that are perhaps need disabusing of the fact that they're not just camp followers. In fact, they are the leader. They are leading.
Well, if you look at your own life, you lead your own life. You make your own decisions. You actually choose the path you're walking down. That's being a leader. But it's when you actually take those actions and demonstrate to others that you know what you're doing, you become a leader. And we all need to follow somebody.
Yes. Well, yes. It just seems sad that, in a way, I feel sad for him because he's not realized how well he's appreciated all this time.
But then
his advice and lead. Well, yes, it's true. Well, it's quite right. And I suppose, therefore, what we need to do is get people to look at themselves, not just as cogs in the wheel, perhaps even the person who is turning the wheel in the first place, you know?
We need to stop judging ourselves and start appreciating who we are and what we are offering ourselves and others, basically.
Yeah. It just seems shaking to me that a person who has obviously worked hard to convey an image of reliability, because you must have done that. If you're a financial advisor, you need to be seen as reliable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then didn't see that his actions would have a wider effect. I feel sad for him in a way because he's missed out on appreciating himself all this time.
Yeah, and that happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yes,
so it really does. Men and women.
Yeah. So men or women, I'm looking at you, Karen Bashford. Yes, but it's I think once you take the blinkers off and you see perhaps how others see you a little bit more, it's probably a bit shocking, actually.
It's scary. because suddenly your life is different. And
Yeah.
you know, you're so used to seeing yourself in one way, and all of a sudden there's this different person in front of you, well, looking in the mirror basically, but there's this different person, there's this person that suddenly realizes, actually, I can inspire, I can do things that will make a difference to somebody else's life. That's a bit of a shock when you suddenly realize that your self-worth, which has basically been down on the ground, has suddenly gone sky high. It's like, how do I deal with this? But embrace it, because in embracing it, you're actually allowing your body and mind to connect in ways that it's never done before, because we know energetically what we believe about ourselves is what we put out. So if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to be attracting to you to people that match what you're putting out. And he's had in his life people that have really challenged him because he didn't believe in himself.
Right.
But that is going to change now, because he suddenly started to see himself in a totally different way, that he can inspire and he can help other people, even though that's what he's been doing all his life. He's never seen it like that.
I mean, is he? I'm hoping he's fit and healthy enough to enjoy this new lease of life, because this with this kind of self-realization, I would have thought it would give you an extra energy. You'd want to go out there and explore in this new guise. Is that mean? This is a question. Being neurodivergent, I spent many years masking, pretending, trying to fit in by putting. In a way, he was kind of self-masking without realizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. We all do things to ourselves without even realizing we're doing it, because the nature of how we experience life says whether we see things positively or negatively.
Yes.
So if you suddenly see yourself in a positive light, that's going to open so much more up for you than if you're continuing to doubt yourself and question yourself and think, I'm not good enough, or, you know, how can I bring value to anything? But everyone brings value, but in their own unique way.
Yeah, but what's weird is hindsight is 20/20 vision, isn't it? And in a way, and I would say I'd want to try and avoid doing this. But, you know, when you've got a sudden realization that you've been doing a certain thing for a number of years, and you take those scales off, the scales fall away from your eyes, and you see things as they actually are. In a way, I know there's a part of me that wishes it could go back and just say, wake up.
Well, you're waking up now. You're
yes.
having this discussion. So you are waking up, just as many others, if they watch this, will be waking up to the realization that we choose how we perceive ourselves. Change that perception.
I see a whole bunch of people have been popping in and out on Twitter, bizarrely. So I'm going to put this up. Guys, if you are interested in perhaps using Karen as a mirror, so to get a bit of self-reflection, so you can see who you really are, and perhaps even getting a really good tarot reading, to more for confirmation that you are heading in the right direction, please look at the link down below, KarenBashford.com. Yes, go and visit there and have a chat. And at the very least, start a discussion. It's only through chatting that you find things out, I think, with people who enable you to lift off the blinkers. And Karen is certainly one of those. Karen, I know you went through your own metamorphosis. I've only got one question. What caused you to suddenly get this burst of realization?
Having a nervous breakdown forces you to stop and review. And I had to review my whole life. Every story I'd been carrying about myself and my experiences. they were all been lessons, but I hadn't realized that I could change them. Having learnt the lessons, I could change.
And I think, well, it's an allegory in there for all of us. You're never too old, too young, too dumb, or too clever to learn new information, and it can change the way in which you view yourself and deal with others. Thank you once again, Karen. Every time I come on with Karen, it's always a learning day. Thank you very much. And guys, as I said, take up the mantle, have a chat to her. At the very least, you'll get to know someone who's been very useful and helpful for me personally, and I thoroughly recommend. Until next time, please do come along to the Karen Bashford show. I can see some of you popping in and out, so that's lovely to see. But you know, I would say take it one stage further. Also, look her up on LinkedIn, of course, Karen Bashford, Empowerment Mentor. She's right there. I wish you all peace, tranquility, keeping your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the moon and the stars, and look after that mental health. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.